us worthy, make us proud. Teach us not to be too loud. We'll try and fit in with the crowd because it's Halloween.
Hello, welcome to a very wet Chessington. Absolutely chucking it down where we're at the moment. We've just got here. It's 9:30, managed to get in. We're going to see what we can do today, but today is, Robert?
James's birthday!
James's birthday today. Yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah, it's the Halloween week, so we're here at Chessington at Halloween. We've got all the events going on. We were hoping to see a lot of shows today, but if the weather stays like this, we're not going to get a chance. But, and James doesn't know this yet, James, we're here for more than one day. So we're going to try and come back tomorrow as well. Hopefully the weather's a little bit nicer. We're going to make the most of it. You know, it's only water. That's why we have our annual passes. I think today might end up being a rainy day guarantee for those who don't have passes. But, you know, we'll get on what we can. We'll try and get on Vampire if that's running. If we get wet, we get wet. It's only water, isn't it? What I'm going to try and do is show you some hints, tips of how to use the ride access pass. Yeah, we'll have a good day. So on for our first tip at the moment. The biggest tip I've got for using the ride access pass is literally planning. You plan your day. If you didn't have a ride access, you need to plan it with a ride access. So although you can get on the rides fairly quickly, you will find some of the ride access queues are longer. We're here at Dragon's Fury and quite often it's out to this door. At the moment it's not. The main queue is only 10 minutes, so it's great. But what you need to do is keep an eye on the actual length of the queues, even the main queue. Because although you might get on quickly, your ride access pass will be timed out for the length of that queue. So you need to plan for that. So if you want to get on quite a few rides, pick the rides that have got the short queues, and if you were the same thing, and then your ride access pass won't time out for as long. And then what you do is, if you're going to want lunch, you then go pick a ride that does have a long queue. So then when your ride access pass timed out for an hour, you go have lunch whilst you're waiting for that to finish timing out. And that's the advantage of the ride access pass. You can manage your queuing in your own way. So instead of queuing for that hour, you get on the ride and then go have lunch and calm down and get ready.
I'm just an average girl with an average life. I work from 9 to 5. Hey ho, I pay the price. All I want is to be left alone in my average home. So why do I always feel like I'm in the twilight zone? I always feel like somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Oh, I always feel like the dolls are watching me. Tell me, is this just a dream?
So we're here at Thorpe Park today. Not so many tips on here. It's not great for smaller kids. Obviously lots of bigger rides, so we don't tend to come here as often. But one big tip, there's often quite a big queue behind me for guest services. So what's great, brand new this year, is where we're at now, the park. So it's a park, it's only meant for 12 and unders, but it's really good because it's right next to guest services. And so what happens is when we're queuing there, if we've got anything like that, we just send them to the park and they love it. It's really nice, brand new. There's lots of things to do, a little trampoline, big slide, nice climbing frame, big swings. Obviously you can see them there on the roundabout at the moment, they're having great fun on it. So you've got guest services here, you've also got first aid right here. So we were here earlier today. James had a nosebleed. So whilst we were dealing with that, we came and the big two went on the park. So if you're ever in Legoland and you get a bit stuck, you've got the sensory room just over there, but what you've also got, if you come down to Heart Lake City, just behind the ice cream parlour, you've got this great little area that's actually labelled first aid. But it's not just for first aid. You'll see on the sign there, you've got a disabled toilet, you've also got some changing rooms. So whilst you do have some changing areas in the toilets, if you come in here with me, you've got a lot of space in here, and it's just a lot of space to go around. You've got some nice seating area just for the kids to just sort of sit down and rest. It's nice and dry. If you come in here, you've got some lovely little rooms just to sit and rest, whether it's you want to sit with the baby, do some feeding. And we find it really useful for James because he doesn't sit on the ones that fold down. They're just not designed for him. So you've got quite a few of these bays that are nice and big, nice and sturdy. And so you've also got a disabled toilet here, and you've got your vending machines for some nappies, wipes if you need them. And then as you come around, this is where you will find your first aid. So you come around this corner, and just down there, you've got your first aid booth for Legoland. And this is a really nice area, lots of seating, plenty of room. Got your first aid just around there. You've also got some vending machines here for any little bits of painkillers, any wet wipes, anything like that. And I would really highly recommend coming down here if you just need a little bit of a break and you don't quite want the sensory room. You just need a bit of space, get the kids changed, dried off, anything like that. Pop down and have a look. It's absolutely fantastic.
Hi! Tell me what you're doing.
Driving a car. Like a car.
Back again with more tips. This time we're talking about parking, specifically disabled parking. Now, we're at Chessington at the moment. You can see at the moment we're parked in the electric charging bay, but we do often have to park in disabled bay as well, depend on where we are, because only Chessington has got this charging, the free one anyway. Thorpe Park has got some. We find you have to get here early. Chessington, we get here, well, we try and aim at the parks about 9 o'clock. We try and get to the parks. That way, we're almost guaranteed disabled parking. It's first come, first serve. You don't get here early enough and there's no disabled parking, then you're stuffed. And if I pan round, you can see just how busy this parking gets. You can see there's people making spaces where there is none, which doesn't help people with other disabled badges that can't get into the car because someone's just made a space. So this is the same at all the parks, Alton Towers, Thorpe Park, Chessington. They get busy. I would say Chessington's the worst at people making spaces. Just parking on curbs, parking where there's not a space. It's a bit of a nightmare sometimes. All the other parts are similar. Get there early. We aim to get there 9 AM, then we're almost guaranteed a space and pick the pick of the spaces really. It depends on the park. So Chessington is, the disabled parking is in the same place as the hotel parking. It's on that side, it's not with the main parking. Alton Towers is near the express parking, near the entrance. You've got the disabled spaces. So you sometimes get a mix there. Thorpe Park, there isn't a separate area. Well, there is a separate area, but there's not a separate car park. It's just off to the side of the car park near the entrance is where all the disabled spaces are. Legoland, similar. There's just a little bit at the front where the disabled spaces are, just off the main car park. Unfortunately, we do find that the spaces and the car parks aren't very well managed in regards to who's parking where. So we don't really find any traffic wardens anywhere sort of marshalling them and organising people, fining people who park in the wrong spaces. They're just not there, despite the fact you have to pay for the parking. Luckily, as a pass holder, we don't have to pay for parking. We get that included in our passes, but it's still frustrating. Getting back to your car and finding someone parked right up next to your door and you can't get in despite being in a disabled space. It's not just theme park specific. It does happen everywhere, but we do find at the park, a lot of people just don't care. I'm not saying it's everyone. It is, thankfully, the small minority, but as always, it's that small minority that ruin it for everyone. Hopefully that helps you. Get there early, get a nice disabled space. Just be willing to spend longer in the park. Okay, so we are here at Mythica, Fly to the Sky Lion. So I thought I'd come here just to do another little bit of a tip. So Sky Lion, there is ride access, but it acts in a slightly different way to all the other ride access passes. So with all the other ride access passes, especially at Legoland and Chessington where they use the app, you just have to book a time and you get the QR code and that's it, done. However, Mythica, it works slightly differently. You still have to book a slot. The differences are there's not an unlimited amount of slots. So they only release the slots at 10 past the hour, half past, and at 10 to the hour. So say for at 10:10, half past 10, and then at 10:50. So they only release those slots 3 times an hour, and you have to get on there and book them. So what you have to do, you'll often go on and see there are no slots available. So you just have to keep going on and trying to get a slot. We actually managed to book ours today whilst we were still waiting in the queue this morning to get in. And that was at like 20 past 9, so we booked our slot for 11 o'clock at that time in the morning. So that's my tip for Mythica. Just keep checking. If there's no slots available, keep checking throughout the day. Once you have got one for the day, you won't be allowed to get any more for your ride access pass. By all means, join the queue. But as you can see at the moment, the queue does get very long very quickly. I mean, it's not even 11 o'clock yet. The queue's already an hour and a half for Mythica. So please be aware there is a wait for Mythica. It is one of the most popular rides here. Awesome ride. Our kids love it, and we'll be going on this in about 10-15 minutes. It'll be really good fun. So keep checking.